Okay, shall we call this meeting to order? Okay, let's call the meeting to order at 4:49. We do have the minutes posted now on the site. Did anybody get a chance to take a look at those?
I think since this is informational, we wouldn't approve.
Right.
We don't
Good
have
idea.
to,
Yeah.
okay,
Well,
all
I
right, fine,
haven't-
so we'll,
I looked at this, I didn't realize there were two. I looked at the
Yeah.
last one, which was- Yeah.
okay, no worries. I will link to all of those in the
Okay.
next agenda so that we're sure that we approve all of those.
But I guess if anybody, it's as a reminder, if you want to take a look and have any comments.
Yeah, they are up there now. Okay, anything that we want to add to the agenda?
Looking at other times for meetings.
Mhm. Okay, we'll put that on the bottom of our list there.
So what about conflict of interest policy? I know you passed it around to
Oh.
trustees. We should add conflict of interest to all the committees.
Right,
Not
and,
just-
and we did with the last, buildings and grounds, but I do have some blank forms in my office, so, yeah, so we should have that. Thank you. That's a good point.
Okay, so then for the next time we meet, we should have conflict of interest forms available.
Yeah,
And
The trustees have completed them with the public.
right.
Mhm.
well, they wouldn't apply to members of the public who attend, right? We can't require a member of the public who attends an
But
open meeting to.
but if they're a member of the
Yeah,
committee,
committee members,
Right,
right? That was
yes,
my distinction,
yeah.
right? So committee members should fill one out, but we can't
Right.
require a member of the public who's attending to.
Right, of
Fill
course.
it in.
Mhm.
yeah,
Because it's the voting.
Mhm.
Otherwise, no, abstaining from
Right.
voting and all that.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it'd be nice if anybody who's showing up and giving comments can disclose any potential conflicts of interest.
Yeah.
Like.
That might be problematic. I think conflicts of interest might be what brings me. Okay, great. So those two items, anything else that anybody has? Okay. All right, so the three agenda items that we had for today are update on bids, so hearing the contract awarded, and then update on work in progress and expenditures. So three short items with a bunch of information in
Short
them.
to say.
right. And then times for meetings.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
So update on the bids is that we got a bid from MCBC. If you want to pass those around.
Yes.
Here are the tabulations that Scott did for us, for $427,825, and from GPI for $283,354. I know. Anthony was there when we opened it. and it's like,
There's a difference there, Star.
Yes, so it made it really easy. Scott's recommending that we go with GPI, as I would as well.
And after comparing them to make sure they were comparable.
That's what I was gonna ask
Yeah.
about. So there were no
Yes.
significant
No.
differences in the
Yeah.
proposals, just in the amount. Okay.
Right. So the one question is, did we want to, we could save about a little over 3,500 by making the security door that's gonna go in the hallway metal, not ballistic glass. So, I don't know whether we wanna go ahead and save that $3,693. What's the committee's sense?
So this would be
and staff's
like
sense?
solid metal door.
Yeah,
So I said this before because when I first heard about this door, it was to let people use this area
Mhm.
and not get to the rest of the library. And then at some point it became a security door in case of something like an active shooter up here to try to prevent them from getting to the rest of the library and provide safety, which is fabulous. And also to me feels like the gate across the road and all the tracks going around it on the grass, because there's lots of glass that's not ballistic or solid metal that anybody who was determined would probably try that all around. So I don't think a solid metal door will look good. I think the aesthetics of that would be bad. It will also like feel very I mean, I guess it wouldn't be closed during the day, right? Maybe I take it back a little bit. But Yeah, it does.
But the
Yeah.
question is, if it's open, it's going to block the view from the children's room to the back door.
That's a
Because
good
even
point.
when we have that side door open, like before we open, we can't see the back door because there's a poster on the door. So if it's an entire metal door that would be open while we're open, the children's room would have no view of the back door at all.
Not good.
Okay, good. Well, good. This is what I was looking for, was input to
Where is
to make the
this?
decision.
I'm just,
I'll show you when we go out. It blocks the hallway.
Okay.
It just blocks off the hallway. So this part of the building will be available, but you can't get into the children's room or down the hall or anything.
Is there another option? I know we're talking about these two, the metal or the ballistic glass door. Are there other types of glass doors that, like, have we talked about any of that might cost less but wouldn't be ballistic?
Probably, but I think we don't want to delay this much further for the small amount of cost savings that we
Yeah.
have.
I guess my thing is like, is there any point in making the glass of this door any stronger than the glass of the children's room?
yeah.
And it might be very easy. Yes.
I think part of it was, hey, at least something would be better than the glass we have. Years ago when we did have the guy come to do the active shooter training, he literally said, well, you guys are sitting ducks. So
Oh, that's great.
yeah. So I think the thought was maybe at some point in the future, something could be, that the glass we have right there by the snack table could at some point be changed out.
Mhm.
I mean, that is a good point too.
Well, it sounds like then the committee is recommending to the director
Just
that we
accept
keep
as is.
that item.
I'm gonna just say too, I mean, to me right now, the cost savings isn't the biggest point. It is what Lindsay said, having that visibility with the children's room staff. So I think that right there kind of seals.
That's a deal breaker.
Mhm.
I agree.
Okay, great.
All right. Excellent. So that was, so I have got this on the consent agenda for the 19th, which is the next select board meeting. I'll be writing the memo up tomorrow to submit it. And I'm happy if anybody needs me to be at that meeting, and I'm happy to meet with Julie ahead of time. I don't expect there to be an issue.
Mhm.
It's been pretty straightforward so far.
Great.
And you're talking about accepting the bid.
Right.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, accepting the bid and awarding the contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to join by Zoom
Great.
for the meeting, so we can attend it that way also.
Sure.
I'm just curious, Star, how's, with this in place now, how's that doing with the overall 1.4?
I think we're looking pretty
Really?
good. Yeah,
Is it?
GPI came in pretty
Mhm.
well there, I
Yeah.
think.
Mhm.
And part of it may be that they're already mobilized here,
Mhm.
so they didn't have to get up a whole crew to come and work on the building.
Yeah,
That
so
makes
there's some
sense.
efficiency there,
Mhm.
yeah.
So, good.
Great.
And, not as much, the other company had a higher markup on their subs, things like that. So, good.
What does UP per window one mean? What does UP mean? Do you know?
Honestly, I don't.
Up. I think
Yeah.
it's additional cost. That's how I read it.
Uh,
Because those other ones are negatives to take things off.
Right.
And I'm
Mhm.
thinking.
Oh,
it's additional
Oh,
up.
good thinking.
So it is
I-
literally up.
Yeah, okay, you're right. I thought that was like
I
code for something. Okay,
The UP in Michigan, yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
What is the upper window? 1, 2,
That's
3?
what,
That's
that's
what
what
we're
it's,
just saying.
Oh,
yeah.
that's what you, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I think it's additional.
So,
But I'm not sure about the window one, too. Is that literally the windows in the children's room? Is that what it's talking
yes,
about?
yeah.
Okay.
yeah, so, yes, and I don't know, I can.
Are
I
they
can check it.
considering it a unit price for each of those items? Might it be the
That's
unit
probably
fee?
what it is.
Yeah.
Unit
Yeah.
price.
Okay,
What
okay,
was that?
that
Sorry.
makes unit price.
For
Yeah.
windows.
Oh,
Yeah.
Window. But it's still additional, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Are these windows gonna have some sort of a, what do I wanna call it, sunblock on them?
Yeah, anything, we discovered when we replaced the windows downstairs, some staff had wanted them to be clear glass, and they don't even sell that anymore. You know, there's some sort of sunblock, you know, just for energy efficiency, and,
Mhm.
and we'd want to have that to, you know, keep the books from fading and
Mhm.
everything else. So yeah, they'll be tinted in some way.
Okay.
The notes in the far right column, like delete painting of band, delete window scope, what does that mean that GPI is?
If that was an option, we could do that. We could, lessen the bid if we, you know, if we took out the windows, you know.
To identify certain pieces of project and say, let us know how much we would save if we decide not to do this.
Yeah.
Like you're bidding for the whole thing, but give us an
Okay,
idea.
okay.
Like
And
if-
so like the security door
That
for
was-
GPI, they said it would be $3,600 cheaper, and MCBC said it would be $26,000.
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
And I think one thing I'm gonna clarify, this bid includes the asbestos.
Yep,
Yep. it does.
The canopy, the
Yep.
windows. And the door, obviously, I can't
the
remember if there's
pavilion.
anything
The
else.
pavilion.
The roof of the pavilion.
yeah,
So it does include quite a bit of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's remaining.
And what is the band that they're offering, the option of deleting, the painting?
Is that the
it's
sulfur?
the asbestos on the outside.
Okay.
Yeah, so
That's,
sealing that, yeah.
okay, so doing that costs that much.
Yeah, and actually, that's so much cheaper than if we had it taken off and abated.
So we were just checking on this. We are still painting the band. We're
Yes.
doing these things. The only one that was still TBD is the security door,
Right.
but the others are staying on the list for
Yeah.
now. Okay.
Let me ask one other question. As I was looking at this, it says delete Windows scope, 43,347. And as I look at these figures down below, the Windows 1 through 5, they seem to total about
I
that
was
same amount.
just adding that up.
Yeah,
So can you individually?
Yeah,
choose?
it is. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it is.
So,
yeah, so you
But
could choose to
right-
not do
so
some
right
and
now-
do others.
right now, all
okay.
of those are in the 284 base price.
Right,
The Windows.
Okay, okay, good
Okay.
Yeah.
catch. Yeah.
good.
I think it may have been GPI's way of saying, yeah, if you want to delete it, you could save this much, but if you want to
Window
do
by
a
window,
couple,
you
you could
could-
add
yeah.
them back in even.
That's-
way.
Wow,
So,
how thorough.
Yeah.
That's nice.
It's useful to have it broken
Yeah,
out.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Great.
Because
particularly-
there was discussion about how many of the windows we wanted that would be opened. And then there was discussion about, you know, should we keep the big windows big or break them up? So there were a lot of different options that they were talking about too. So
Great. Okay, perfect. Does anybody have any questions on the bid? All good? Okay, all right, so work in progress. It's raining today and we are here on the second floor, which was gonna be closed.
So they ended up not closing today and tomorrow to just, so there was gonna be getting rid of the stoop slab outside the back door
Mhm.
today and building the temporary platform to be able to let us use it as emergency exit again tomorrow. Realized there would be concern about debris from demolishing the stoop and the machinery and stuff like that, possibly damaging the curved wall that they're building. And that seemed like bad idea. And so the current plan is, I don't know whether the weather might affect this, but is to do the concrete pour for the rest of the wall on Friday. Then next Friday, they'd be able to do the 1 week test, the break test of the cement, the concrete sample, make sure that it has been up to spec and allow backfilling. then backfill around it, which would also help protect it from anything, and maybe even mound up extra fill between the stoop and the new wall. Um, and then break up the stoop. So the hoped for plan, and I think Lindsay very, rightly pointed out that if we can know on this Monday, if this is going to work, it'd be good. It would give us a week's notice, would be to close this floor a week from Monday, the 18th, and then Tuesday, the 19th, they'd make the temporary platform. Odds are very good that if everything goes to plan, we'd even be able to have the second floor open by the evening of the Tuesday, because they just need to build that temporary platform, and they're not going to work past construction hours. So anyway, but we might not even have to cancel any evening programs that might, or reservations for the room for Tuesday. The one thing that I realized afterwards I'm not completely sure about is if they're only getting the brake test on the Friday and they've got a backfill before they break it up, I'm not sure, is that like, are they hoping to get that test result first thing Friday and start backfilling that day? I don't think I had that in my notes or completely understood it. It did, that seems like possibly
There's
it's a
no
little bit,
transition time.
And I mean, so the other thing, there was definitely, I think they very well understood that closing and not closing this floor is a, significant thing, and they didn't want to do it. And, everybody involved sort of apologizes. And also it's going to be the reality that this may happen again,
Backfilling would be done rather quick. Backfilling will not take much time.
Great.
To do, so it's, I'm sure they can work that in with the,
Excellent.
with the removal of the pad out there.
Yeah, great. I didn't know how long it might take, or whether you need to do some and let some settle.
What does
and then more.
backfilling mean?
I mean,
Like,
putting
it's like dumping
Back
the,
against the wall.
Yeah.
Right now, they're taking it up.
Yeah.
To get the wall constructed, that's putting it.
okay, so you could potentially like do that in the morning and then,
Yeah, I think that, like I said,
Deconstruct
they
your
want to know that the cement, the concrete
Mm-hmm.
is right before you put a bunch of dirt around it. Because if you have to take it out and put it back in again,
Makes sense.
you don't want to have to take out the dirt. And then they also do have to backfill like both sides kind of evenly, so you're not pushing over the wall with the fill that you've just put on one side. Is that fair to say, it's even row? Yeah. So, but yeah, good to know that it shouldn't actually take very long. So, Anthony, when we met yesterday morning, was going to just double check with the firm that does the testing to make sure that they could get it. That literally a week later, he didn't think it should be a problem, but I'm sort of.
So actually, it could be sooner. I mean, it's not like you have to wait. I don't want to think of it as a lab test. Your blood, you have to wait.
No, it has to cure for a week.
That's what you're-
Yeah, so that's why that first.
After 7 days.
Yeah, so it's testing how well did it cure after 7 days, how much force does it take to break it? That's the impression I get,
Yeah.
right? So, Anthony said that the contractor that this concrete contractor has their samples have come back, if anything, over strong. I mean, like not badly, but
They're
well
extra
beyond
good.
minimum
So
recently. So
do I have the dates right then? Because I think I might be off. Because because we're the 6th today. Did you say they're doing the brake test next Friday?
So
The
the
15th?
hope is to pour this Friday, the day after tomorrow, the 8th. And then they'd be able to do the brake test on the 15th and backfill also on the 15th. So then
Wait, but if
Monday,
they have to have a
Well, the
week
15th, or even
to
they
get the
might be able
results.
to get it to what they can start. It could be on the 5th. It would probably be on the 15th.
so that they're
But-
if they're pouring on the 8th,
Uh-huh.
they can do a week test on the 15th.
Oh,
That's
the
next
brake
Friday.
test, the week is before the test. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, all
Before they
right.
The
start
big
back on the
picture.
concrete,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
want to make sure
Okay.
the strength is there to.
Because they literally take a sample of what
Got
they
it.
poured. Yeah.
Got it.
At least
That's-
seven,
The
they
big
take
word
it 7
there.
times through the process. It's that 7th day will be a critical one in terms of proceeding.
Okay, this
Yeah.
is good. This is helpful. Thank you.
I'm gonna say the big word there is if, because it's
Yeah.
supposed to rain. What is today? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I think. I've just seen rain in the forecast for.
And I don't know a wall like this, how
I
much,
can't, I imagine they can't pour if it's raining.
I don't know.
I wouldn't think so.
It's
So,
supposed to
maybe.
be sunny on Friday.
Yeah, my weather app is saying, okay, on Friday, rain today, rain Saturday, Sunday, Monday, but not
Not Friday.
not Friday.
Oh, good.
Must have
Okay.
known.
Well, I mean, of course,
Don't do
Who
the
knows?
rain dance.
Yeah.
The rain dance, do sunny dance.
Tomorrow was going to be sunny, but.
Yeah. it comes and goes, like, I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, great. But so we have a sense of kind of what's happening over the next couple of weeks. Is there other stuff going on in the pit?
There are definitely some other things. So first of all, I should have started with, for various little reasons, they're like a little bit behind where Anthony meant to be, but it's still not looking like it's gonna push out finishing this phase. Still
Mhm.
early July is they feel like they're on target. It's just like the interim
Mhm.
things didn't quite all line up. Uh, One of the things that is still a little bit to be determined is the concrete bases for the lamp poles. Because those will be above grade and visible, there's a contractor who does sort of more finished concrete
Mhm.
work that was going to do those, but they're 2 to 3 weeks out. So I think the more general concrete contractor is likely to do those and just, has basically.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's been decided or not.
Yeah,
It seems
exactly,
as though
but-
there was a strong chance it might have to head in that direction.
Because there's at least one that has to be kind of in place before they can do some other things. But anyway, so, I mean, I think the contractor GPI is on the hook for having something that looks good. So really, in many ways, it's their issue and, yeah.
Who was it, who was gonna do you don't know who
the
but
company.
like finish concrete?
I mean, that's kind of the rough impression I got,
Okay.
somebody who doesn't know
They
much.
would have had Washburn do a precast one, I think was the idea. And I'm not sure who's going to do the flat,
Yeah, it was like,
Okay.
they were gonna make them off-site, basically.
Okay.
and then they can finish them more smoothly. It's,
Okay.
if they have them precast off-site.
What's the bottom of the post gonna look like? Is it just gonna be plain
It'll
concrete
just
or
be
is it gonna
concrete.
be
It's
painted
2 feet
concrete?
high, 18 inches by 18 inches by 2 feet. It's, for the one in the center of the circle.
Yeah.
That will basically light the entire. So it's up a couple of feet higher in order to get that, the necessary lighting
Yeah.
spread over
Mhm.
the,
And I think that's one
So,
specific,
okay.
because they can't pour the whole big slab until that's in place. And if they
it
have
has
to
to be in
wait
place first before they can.
multi-weeks before they can get
Okay.
precast ones, it would throw off pouring the big slab.
Right.
Because I think, Anthony said, after the wall, and breaking up
Stoop.
the stoop. Then the next main things are pouring the piers for the canopy. Again, putting in the piers for the canopy.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's the main big concrete slab with this, part of underlying everything pretty much. And I don't know if I can find it in my notes right now, but it's basically, couple weeks. Am I kind of getting that right? Maybe, after the breaking up the slab that we might be doing the piers. I don't know that they had a firm date yet, or I don't know if anybody remembers.
The piers for the supports for
The canopy, yeah. I can't remember, but
So the lamp posts come first, or is all that happening at the same time?
there's
It would probably happen at the same time.
yeah, there's I think anyway, stuff is basically
But
still.
because that does
yeah.
not come above the ground, it's not as exposed, so they're not concerned. That will eventually, I mean, it only comes up. Is it even 6 inches?
Okay, so we're not inspecting
But
the edges of
But the
that in
other
the same way.
you'll have a better finish on it in
Yeah,
terms of how it's treated.
Yeah.
If it's precast.
This-
okay.
yeah.
Interesting.
This is why I had notes about the piers and the slab. So when they're pouring those piers to support the canopy over the rear exit, there might be a chance that they'd have to close the rear door and we'd have to close the second floor. Anthony thinks there's a pretty good
That's right.
chance that they would be able to have an emergency exit when they're doing the piers. When they're doing the whole slab, we're almost certainly gonna have to close the top floor again,
Yeah.
right? Because it's gonna be up to the door.
That's right, that was.
So,
the
yeah.
issue.
And I had in here, if this was correct, because I was taking notes, but the slab, I think, might be 1 to 2 weeks after the upcoming closure on the 18th and 19th. So
Okay.
it might be kind of a roughly a week from that
Mhm.
Monday or roughly 2 weeks from that Monday, we might have to do another. But I think for the slab, it was like likely one
But the
day.
actual decision's better put off for another 2
Yeah,
weeks. till we
exactly.
See where we are, so at that
So
point.
we're gonna have to
So
roll
then-
with things a bit.
So the piers for the canopy may result in a closure, but the big concrete slab will.
Yes, I think
Yeah,
that's
okay.
what my notes say.
And Lindsay was good in letting them know that, Wednesday and Thursday are the busiest times for up here because that's when we have the kids program, so.
Now, is there,
Yes.
I know you're on the GPI portal, usually there's a project timeline for all this stuff? Is there anything you can download for a project timeline? Sometime we.
I couldn't open mine up, by the way, Matt.
You couldn't open it. I thank you, Anne, for reminding me of that. Yes, there is, and actually, I can't remember. I may have put one into the share. I should have asked you to add that to the agenda, is to talk briefly about the share again. And where am
I
I?
have access to GPI,
Yeah.
so
But
it's
some of the
nothing
stuff would
important.
be
to
on
me.
it. Be
I just want to let you know that I couldn't open up the portal through the library site.
Actually, yeah. So, Lindsay, would you like me to share my screen? I'm just putting up briefly the PDF that I did download from Procore. This was as of April 27th, sort of rough schedule, which is quite hard to see at this Zoom level. All of this subject to change, and since it's well past the 27th now, I'm sure some of it already has, some of it's probably already done. But that something like this is going to be updated periodically where I could get at it. And yeah, so it should be my intention to try to get it out.
Yeah, that'd be a great thing for us to have for these meetings if we had the version that was.
And
up
yeah,
to
maybe
Tuesday.
Yeah,
especially
I thought Anthony said he was gonna upload an updated one when we met.
Is that updated? It almost looks as though it is. I have just noticed the backfill wall C. And when is that start?
That's a Friday
Friday
5/8.
Yeah, so.
But that's
And that's when it's.
that's backfill though. We're pouring on the 8th now.
Yeah, so it's
So
pushed
that
a
is
week.
old.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is helpful.
yeah, that is great. Did you say this is in the
Yeah.
in the
So
drive
would you like me to
folders?
just give a quick sort of tour of what I've done so far? I noticed you added a lot of people. Thank you very much,
No
Nikki. Where am I at? Okay, and actually, maybe I should share this. Lindsay, I sent you and Amanda actually as well, because I know she's interested, access for this to this folder. So brain, here we go.
Can you see it, Lindsay?
Not yet. It says it's starting screen share. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
So this is in a Google Drive, and this is what the top of the folder looks like. So it's called Brooks Exterior Project 2024 to 2026. I'd said before, it was a big mess, a lot of stuff that was not updated, and I've made it a bit less of a mess since then. Being prompted to actually get it shared also kind of
Thank
kicked
you.
me to get a little bit of organization. So the ARPA grant info has the actual grant award agreement and the contract between the town/library and the state. It has all of the supporting documentation that STAR had to upload to the states, during the application process. So if you ever want to look at sort of what we said we would do back then and what was agreed, that's in there. Budget is intended to have information about how we go along possibly as well. It has budget as submitted with grant application, right? So that was our best guess at what the project would be and that kind of stuff. And I think, this was the very earlier, earlier estimates while we were still
Might want
working
to
on the
delete that
grant.
one. It's
Yeah.
3/7.
Well, no, we might want to know what we were talking about during design, right? Maybe we'll reorganize it so it's clearer what's old and what's not, but I think that, for archival purposes, if nothing else, it's good to know how things evolve as we went along. Construction contracts, this was the award to GPI, I believe,
I
for.
opened that and I didn't see anything in it really, other than, I wasn't. excited.
Yes, no, there's not
Wasn't
a lot
really
here.
numbers on it?
That's all.
Yeah, just the notice to proceed. This is not the actual contract, I don't think, right?
No, that's
Yeah.
not. That's-
Yeah, so I don't think I have the full contract. Oh, Lindsay, sorry, you wouldn't have seen that because I'm only sharing the window, but there wasn't much to look at. So construction updates, this is where what's going on now should be kind of coming in. And just as a reminder, so phase A is the front, which is going to be starting in July. Phase B is all this stuff in back that's currently happening. And phase C is what we really recently decided we should call phase C, which is
This,
canopy,
contract,
pavilion, asbestos, windows, security door. Exactly. That's the contract, which is to be voted on by the select board and stuff. 19th or whatever, right, Star?
Yes.
So there is.
Sorry, phase C, yeah,
Yeah.
July start, right?
No, phase C is gonna be sooner than that.
Oh,
Phase C is
Yeah.
finishing up
Oh,
stuff back here.
Right,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
it's probably gonna carry on. That doesn't have to be done before they start working on the front. Is that fair to say, right? There are pieces of it that.
no, that's working out with Scott,
I
since
have the
CPI is doing
dates
both
on your-
now.
Right.
on your-
Before we
is
had to
okay?
make
I just
sure
went
that
starting in July and then.
It was set up for whoever it would be, but since CPI is doing both,
That's
Scott
gonna be helpful.
will probably
Coordinate all that.
coordinate it, so that earlier work can start on C, is what I would expect would happen.
Okay.
Right. And then plans and drawings has, this is the very nice, Monroe sort of overview drawing, that, we've been out at the library for people to see. I'm actually gonna put this on our website. We're working on having a page on our website or a post that has a little more info, before you can link off to the town's page if you want to, or that kind of thing. That will be linked from our banner. Jean very kindly started that last night. So, but then, and there's some, old drawings and things of existing conditions before the whole thing started. This old is going to be a random collection of different draft drawings and stuff, yeah, this may or may not be of particular interest. Phases A and B plans and drawings. This is the big bid set and project spec from SVE. So those are here. This is not to be released publicly, I think. Is that still true, or does it not matter now that it's been awarded and stuff? I don't know how much it probably, I mean, just in general, right? Probably not sharing stuff widely beyond the committee is probably the way to go, and unless we, check on something specific, probably.
Yeah.
But these are like the, the drawings and plans that were bid on. Yeah. And then the phase C has, these are basically the drawings that were bid on for this that we saw. It's not as much detail as the plans and specs for A and B, partly because it's smaller and different little pieces and things like that. But and I think that's basically what's there at the moment. Anybody who is willing to look around and has questions or, thinks of things that are clearly missing or, be great to hear that kind of feedback. And not, most people are not editors, so you won't be able to move things around or edit or change. Nikki is, it's partly just so we don't by accident. I've been there myself. So this has been a long asked for kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it definitely is gonna need.
Folders, I mean, all of a sudden.
And I just want to say thank you so much. for
Yeah.
doing this.
Yeah.
Well, I had started it ages ago, and it's one of those things where it's like, finding the time and remembering to move it the
Yeah.
last bit. And yeah, so this is going to need continual care and feeding, and that's going to be difficult. I probably won't be able to keep up with all of it just myself, and I don't think anybody's asking me to, but I just want to make that clear. There will be other people who can help with that. And there's also definitely probably some stuff that's from what has already happened that should be in there that isn't yet. And I might not even know what it is. So, like you don't know what you don't know kind of territory.
Oh, this is great. Yeah, thank you so much. Really helpful.
I would think the construction updates would be
That's
one-
probably the one where we'll
the most-
spend
most
the
interesting
time.
one,
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that will be dynamic. I mean, you'll be changing.
And I will say that, so, that these first two meetings, yesterday and last week, I found extremely helpful and interesting, and I tried to take a lot of notes, and that's what I'm basing
Yeah.
my update here. I have thought about putting my notes right in here, and I think they're just too rough and stuff. Like, I don't think that, it's really notes for myself, and I don't know that I'm gonna really have the time to clean them up.
I
to put
think,
them in
I
here.
think, I think maybe for the public, no, but for this committee, I think it would be okay.
Yeah, maybe. Also, Anthony is producing minutes. It's just because they're not an open meeting, he doesn't have the same, so I think he only sent out the minutes from last week's meeting Monday.
But I would
Yeah.
expect that your notes for this committee would be acceptable to
Yeah,
post for this committee,
I
not for the general public.
appreciate the vote of confidence.
But you're basically
Yeah.
recapping your
Yeah.
minutes to us here too.
I'll
So
think about it. It's a little bit one of those
Does
Yeah.
Scott send these things by email at all? Like if we could get the timeline?
I will, I think he brought that to a meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that might be something we can communicate with Scott about.
or we
getting
can scan
his
it
time.
in too,
Hmm.
so.
Yeah.
okay, all
Um,
right.
So I got a question for Matt. So
Yes.
as part of that meeting, have they had any concerns that they might go over budget or changes in scope or anything like that?
That's the next item on the agenda.
The first meeting brought up a couple of small things. Oh, actually, there was also one other big thing from yesterday that I forgot, which should be budget neutral, I believe. So along the sidewalk, the street, right, the picket fence is in the plans, and Monroe had, selected and suggested a particular off-the-shelf fencing unit. Partly, as he was reminding us yesterday, is that one of the features of it is that you can rack it. So if it's at an angle, the pickets stay vertical, and you don't have to worry about, you don't have to do the step down and that kind of thing. So Renault, the contractor who's going to be manufacturing some of the other steel elements like the handrails and things like that, basically said to GPI, we could probably manufacture a picket fence that would more closely match those other elements, would be heavier gauge steel, would also look like it was custom and not off the shelf, would have a coating, which if everything is done to manufacturer specification, would have a 20-year warranty.
Coding was the uncertainty really, but I think in other ways it would be
Yeah.
the equivalent, if not even superior
Yeah.
to.
So, and I think is it John from SVE in particular had a couple of questions and about, what would the welds look like, that kind of thing. So Anthony was going to go back to them and ask them to do a little mock-up with a few pickets and things like that, but.
Just to make sure that the final product will have. Just to look at the final appearance in terms of how well the welds will be.
And that might be the weak point in maintenance.
In some ways, it's the strength, because it'll add more physical strength.
Yeah.
So.
My take on it was, there's not really a strong, this one is demonstrably better. They both have a couple of different pros and cons. The manufactured product that you'd buy off the shelf has kind of a proven track record, has a warranty for the whole fence and not just the coating. Anthony even has experience with it and has seen it in the field holding up well over a pretty long amount of time. He also had the same company manufacture not pickets like this, but other elements at a project that he'd done recently, and he said they came out looking great. Now that's only maybe a year old.
And
so
DBW has had the same experience with the subcontractor here in terms of the product. So
Yeah, and they kept saying it's a much heavier gauge.
Yeah,
which is
exactly.
great.
I think the strength
The
is.
one that would be
that-
manufactured custom.
You
Yeah.
know, people will be out there during parades.
Yeah,
Yeah,
They'll be leaning on, they'll be stepping on that bottom rail,
yeah.
yeah,
and to have it solidly welded.
And it will be a, local,
it's a
a
And it's
local,
like-
local manufacturer,
Yeah.
tradespeople making it,
Yeah.
which is a
Right.
nice benefit too, so.
build it custom in the field,
Yeah.
which,
And the finish will be the same as the other
yeah,
railings, like the other handrails, and
Yeah.
so. I think it, uniformly, it will be a better blend of products.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I think even stronger.
Yeah, I think my sense was that as long as the mock-up looks good, that's
There-
probably the way
there's
we
some
were
question
leaning.
About the warranty.
Yeah, and some questions
That
about the
was,
warranty, right? So yeah, there were some very, I thought, well thought, questions, and I think seeing a mock-up will be good, and I think that if everything looks good, well, that seemed like people would recommend going with that.
I think it's going to really depend on John's level of comfort with the mock-up.
Yeah,
I'm wondering, the existing one anyways, that we have is not off the shelf. I'm sure that was somebody local who created those railings, so.
Yes, and that's one reason that, in my opinion, and like I said, there are a lot of people that have input here, but in my opinion, that's local craftsmanship.
Mhm.
And the more we can carry that theme through,
Mhm.
I think the better it's going to look.
Yeah.
And I do believe, on the basis of the information was submitted, that in strength, it's at least the equal, if not superior to,
Yeah.
to the product. There was a warranty issue, that seemed to be of less concern to,
Yeah.
to the town.
And you said, Matt, you thought it was budget neutral, so.
yeah, because it's.
To do it
Exactly,
for the
they're,
same.
they're
price.
saying this is an alternate, this is an alternate to what was specified. Here's why we think it's
Cool.
worth
I
considering.
originally specified it myself, and my thinking was that it would have been more important to have had it fabricated locally than buying the product off the shelf.
Huh.
I've had very good
Mhm.
experience with this particular product. And I figured, well, this is the way we can save money and still have a good product. So from my personal perspective, I like the idea of it being
That's
done
great.
locally. I think it'll be a better aesthetically. It'll all blend.
Yeah,
better.
that makes sense. Oh, that's great.
But it's gonna be John's decision ultimately in terms of when he sees the mock-up, if he's comfortable with the with the strength aspect and the appearance too,
Mhm.
the walls.
When you said John, you talking Potter? You said
No,
John Potter?
no,
But
John,
no, John Goodell does,
From SVE,
The
the engineer.
engineer
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
really responsible for the drawings. It's his staff that's on them, and
Okay. Thank you.
Great.
and the only last little thing is that we did get some more color samples for furniture and stuff out in back. But we're still waiting on some more before we can really just make sure everything's gonna look like it will go together nicely. When you're dealing with different manufacturers, you say the same color and sometimes it comes back great, sometimes it comes back a little flashy, and so, yeah.
Julie will be sitting in all these meetings.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And she's very focused on this project already. So she's got a lot of background in construction projects and brand management. So that's great. And let's see, and then also we had the issue with the conduit, whether we were gonna
Right.
run stuff.
Yeah. There'd been discussion, the drawings had at the sort of, if you think from right to left in this curved wall that's gonna be outside the door here. The drawing had a place for an outlet to be able to come up, conduit for that, kind of near the left end of the wall, where next to one of the benches. There was talk about, should we take that out? Should we keep it so that we could do stuff in the future, or whatever? So I think it's been decided now, they're gonna keep the conduit, relocate it to the very end of the wall. So an outside outlet could be put right on the sort of side end of the wall, which could be good if they need to do stuff with yard work, down slope. Somebody could use it
Or
in,
lighting any
And
signs maybe on the wall.
we could, if we ever did have like a sign or something on the curve of the wall facing the street, we'd have a place where we could get power for it without having to smash up concrete and
So, and that was the reason why it was being moved? Is that what
It's, I mean, it's
prompted?
we moved a very small,
But just
yeah.
basically turning it so that so that it's facing out rather than,
It's gonna be like inside the curve, kind of next to where the bench would be.
uh-huh.
And we're just putting it on the end, it just like on
Just for
consideration, it's like better
accessibility
place.
reasons. Yeah, okay,
Instead
okay.
of wall mounting it, as for instance, that sort of seemed to be the,
Yeah,
consensus.
I think part of it was we weren't entirely sure how we'd mount.
And it's
it
not
where it
part of
was.
GPI's, product anyway, that was going to be left up to
Mhm.
the library
Yeah.
to,
Right,
We just had
whatever
to
kind of receptacle.
decide whether we
Yeah.
wanted to keep that conduit. 'Cause,
Right.
And most people were like, if you have the conduit, you can use it. If you don't have the conduit, you're not getting one in
Yeah.
later, so,
yeah.
yeah.
Or you would, but
Yeah, right.
At much
Yeah.
worse.
expense and also.
Yeah,
structure of-
let's not plan to crack up our new concrete.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Anything else from that meeting that you guys?
No, I think that's it.
What about any financial updates?
So, one thing we need to look at is SVE going forward, checking in and, being responsible for the plans and everything, checking in, has, put forth a proposal to, to have another contract for about $20,000 to keep an eye on, to just have that eye on the plans. So, we had in our original budget, we had $80,000 for design and engineering. We've spent with SVE 66,817. We have a contract with them that for up to $74,000. We have yet to pay Robin for her work on this. So I spoke with her today and she is estimating, she's supposed to be getting me an invoice today or tomorrow, that we can pay her. And she is estimating about $6,000 for all of her work, which is really low, I think. So the 74,000 to SVE and 6,000 to Robin would bring us to that $80,000 that we have in our budget.
So the 20 would be.
The 20 will
Above
be
that.
above that.
Mhm.
They did build in an inflation factor and contingency and things like that. My sense is that we would definitely want to keep SVE at the table. I think we could talk to them about maybe not having as much involvement or, could we scale back some of the at the table attendance or something like that, if that were the case. So, because we can't make a motion or anything at this meeting or allocate funds, I just want to put that out there. And this is something that should be addressed next time the committee meets. And I'll get more details
Question.
from SVE.
Yeah.
Will Robin, will that come into the state grant?
Yes.
That
Yeah.
will come into the state grant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because she did the work on the canopies and the
Yeah.
specs for the windows and
I
all those
just
things.
wasn't sure
Yeah.
if she's gonna, okay.
Yeah.
With that, conversation with SVE about
Mhm.
that, like partly about picking the spots, like this part really be very important to have your expertise and eye on this part of the project. Maybe these other things
The
wouldn't
the
be.
first part of it, I mean, what's going on now is the middle review.
Yeah.
For instance, on the picket fence, the review what Renault had submitted in terms of its structural adequacy and whether or not it's the equivalent. The same thing with the lighting. Each pole has to be looked at individually in terms of what it is because of the how the lights distributed.
So does
It's
that
high.
mean that SVE is like advising us on some of these?
Yes.
So they're operating.
When we develop plans, we spec plans, but you leave it open to provide the contractors some possibility in terms of submitting alternatives if they're cost savings for the equivalent. In this case, SVE reviews any submittals like that. And some of them are very straightforward. For instance, the furniture, all of the furnishings, the site furniture, they just use the um, manufacturers and products that were originally spec, and they just submit the manufacturer sheets. Those you just sign off on. In this case, for instance, the lighting contractor submitted the wrong poles, the ones that were spec. And
So they caught that because they were
right,
reviewing.
and so signing off on, like talk about the brake test with the concrete, just reviewing that and approving it.
Mhm.
That the concrete is acceptable. Those are
Okay,
kind of,
SBEs,
those are the kind of,
Yes.
SBEs.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
those are the kind of things that are included in this follow-up.
Mhm.
Can I ask, so that 20,000 would have to come out of the contingency basically, because it wasn't planned for, or?
We would go ahead and, what we need to do is go ahead and spend over
Right,
if we have to spend over. Then once we've spent out the base grant, then we apply for the contingency and we say why. So
yeah,
we could say, engineering costs ran over by 20,000
Got it.
and other.
yeah, so we
things
wouldn't go to the state now and say that contingency that you set
Yeah.
aside that we have to go to, we're not doing it
Right.
now.
Right. You
We'll
have to
see
spend
what
everything.
comes out, yeah.
September,
But-
October.
But
whenever.
we would think to ourselves, we've
Yeah, when
did
it,
it.
Another thing, is it 2 weeks that they're
Mhm.
submitting the pay requisitions?
I think it's just once a month.
Once a month, okay,
Yeah.
but reviewing those to make sure that
Yeah,
the quantities that town's been billed for are
In line.
in
Yeah,
line with,
that makes
yeah,
sense.
with the amount of work that has been done.
yeah. And then Scott looks them over also after.
Yeah.
After SVE, and then Julie will ultimately sign on.
Maybe we really need to get a better idea if we can scale back some of the SBE services. I mean, I do see that we probably got to spend more money, definitely for them,
Yeah.
but if we can distinguish, because we are paying Scott, so
Yeah.
do we need to have two people sometimes looking at something?
And what might be the way to do that is just, if Scott wants assistance, then he can call us into it.
Yeah,
I mean, there's,
yeah, that's.
the difference is, right,
idea.
it's an engineering company looking at it versus a construction project
Yeah.
manager, right? So, like-
But there are things that will need the engineer's approval.
that's what I meant, like, that's what, when I said picking the spots, like
Yeah.
where do we really want, qualified, trained engineers looking at this and saying yes, versus Scott's expertise and knowledge and
So it's really a
background.
question of who makes the decision about when to come in, right? Because it's either Scott says, I'd like
It
SVE
seems as-
support, or SVE is
Scott's
kind
in
of
the
there
position to
alongside.
play
Mhm.
play that role where it's going to be required. Or he feels that it's better off for the engineer to make.
I mean, that feels like the
Yeah.
right call,
Mhm.
right? Because then we're not double dipping. They're not reviewing things they don't need to review. And Scott, as the project manager, is the person who would make the decision about whether or not he needs an engineer. So, engineer support,
I mean,
so.
I
So we
just,
basically just need to like set up a pocket of money to pay SVE for whatever that
That's
extra.
probably worked out,
Advice,
should be
yes.
discussed in the next construction meeting
Yeah.
in 2 weeks.
Mhm, mhm.
And the concern be expressed then, and then let the parties decide how that can best be addressed to handle the
So-
everybody's concern.
Yeah, sorry, Monroe. I haven't really seen financials, in any depth, and I don't understand very well the bits that I have seen. So my understanding is, right, there's a dollar amount that is not including the contingency that the state is
Mhm.
reserving for us. Does that dollar amount, like, is that everything we're planning is expected to fully consume all of that.
Yes.
Yeah, and in fact, potentially we might have to cut back something to make it that,
Mhm.
right? What is the contingency amount that the state has
So-
put aside for us?
I went through, going through numbers and just to help you out a little bit, and I haven't confirmed yet. The first bid that came through is the 1.109. I'm not positive, so, but using Scott supplied this, and he had a 1.109 for, which was phase 1 and phase 2.
A
And
and
I'm
B.
assuming that's the bid, that's my assumption, so I used that. I took the second bid that we've had for windows and asbestos. Took the roof, what we've already incurred for the roof, took 80,000 for SVE. And subtracted out, because we also have to keep in mind the town is also, some of these funds are coming from the town. So I subtracted out the town's amount. And I came up with 1,472,501 spent for everything, excuse me, 1,429,110. And the total grant before contingency is 1,472. So right now we were at 43,000 under before the contingency. Now,
Before we hit the contingency, basically.
Yeah.
And during construction,
Yeah.
that contingency is gonna be vitally important.
Yeah, yeah.
exactly, and that's why, that's why I went through and did all these calculations, and as I said, I need to confirm the first bid, and that there's no other bids between these, there's just these two bids.
Yeah,
Okay,
the solar bid is something separate.
right,
That
and
was
I
the
didn't
other-
even I didn't include solar in these
Yeah.
numbers. I just-
And Star, you said you didn't know off the top of your head what the total max contingency was from the state.
Let me
So the
see here.
contingency is 177,572.50.
Yeah.
What, that's the contingency, that's
177,000.
what's available from the state for
Yeah,
us?
That
so
we can
The
apply,
grant was 1,472,501, and
Yeah.
the contingency of 177,572.50, which makes the total of
Yeah.
1,650,073.50.
so $177,500 of money that we can apply
Mhm.
to the state and justify saying we needed to go into the contingency for this stuff.
I
But if Ann's estimates are right, and if everything went ideally, we'd be 40,000 before we'd have to go to the contingency. To me, committing 20 for the value for service from SVE feels well worth it. Just from everything I've seen, I mean, again, totally unqualified to judge an engineering company's work, but the drawings have been good, the plans have been good, the attention to detail, John and Pete from SVE, and I mean, Monroe, I guess you're technically kind of from SVE too, right? So, yeah,
I do review things. I'm
Yeah.
not charging.
Yeah, no.
Any amount
Yeah.
on to SB.
Yeah.
That's something that's.
Yeah.
Granted, but I do, because I was involved in the design, the
Yeah.
development of the plans, there's certain things that I'm more
Yeah.
familiar with than Peter John.
Yeah.
And like the lighting, for instance.
yeah. So I don't know, that's just
Furniture and site.
my 2 cents is that it seems worth it and also still appropriate to have a conversation with them and when Scott and everybody and say, yeah, are there parts that are more critical? Could we do a smaller contract to start with the option to, add more on top later if
I agree
we
with
run
that.
through it?
Because these numbers don't include the generator that we wanted to get. There's other little things in there that.
Right. No, we'll have no trouble spending the money.
Yeah.
So, I myself, I would prefer spending money on a generator, but maybe I'm wrong on saying that.
I would rather not have a wall fall over because we didn't have an engineer look at it. You know what I mean? Like,
Maybe if that 20K came from them thinking that they needed to review everything, maybe we're talking about a smaller number. If it's, 15, because Scott has some that he deems unnecessary to have that
Was that
second set of
necessary?
eyes on them.
To be on the hour, but the actual charge would be hourly. So.
Yeah, so not to exceed.
Yeah.
I mean, Scott may come back and say, we're getting a lot of work from Scott for like next to nothing. I mean, that I kind of feel bad about that in a way. I mean, I know he agreed to it, but still, he's worth every penny that we're paying. And that's
So you're
the hard
thinking
piece you're trying to justify here.
You're thinking he may say, this is really more than I signed on for to have that degree of responsibility and I want more console. Am I hearing you correctly on that?
Oh, I mean, I don't think he can because he signed the contract.
No, but he may have signed a
And I think
contract
he-
with the understanding that SVE would be reviewing and he'd be reviewing it too. So if we say we can't afford to have SVE review everything, that might be
Yeah.
asking him to do more work, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I think he
But-
also maybe, some people do it out of the kindness of their heart. We know a lot of people who give to the library, just,
Mhm.
so I think that's also Scott. I think he,
Well, I think that, yeah, the message to Scott is just like SVE is here for your support when you need them. And if you need them for every item that you're, reviewing, then that's fine too. But if the ball is sort of in his court for when he pulls them in.
And actually, SB will be fine. I mean, John is so busy right now. He does have a hard time devoting his,
Yeah,
devoting time to it, and more Scott can take off John's shoulders.
perfect.
John will be more than, so, I think it can be adequately,
Great.
worked out, probably at the next construction meeting,
Yeah,
have the discussion and see how much Scott's willing to.
that's great.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds really good. Yeah.
All right.
Anything else in finances that we needed to
No,
discuss?
just, that there will be, an invoice coming from Robin.
Yes.
I guess my last thing is I still don't quite know. I feel like I don't know what the pipeline for us getting information about finances is. Like, I feel like I am the pipeline primarily, not the only one. Lindsay, Star has been, Julie will be from the construction update meetings, but I'm just sort of taking it as part of my responsibility to try to be as thorough as I can. But like, I'm not getting financial information, so I'm definitely not the conduit for that. And I don't know quite how that's going to flow to this committee. And I think we all want it to. So that's kind of just my outstanding question, partly for my own sake, to be like, I don't completely know where I should be looking.
Yeah.
So I think not asking for an answer today by any means, but like I think it's one of the things that we should work towards getting a little bit.
well, how to
Yeah.
continue doing this financial
Yeah.
analysis. I mean.
Yeah, no, that's
Well-
great. But I mean,
And
you
as-
getting the numbers.
Yeah.
But I'm getting the numbers from Anna.
Right, who's got a spreadsheet, so we
I
can.
mean,
work
relying
on
on
that.
Anna's numbers and a combination of Scott's and putting the two together.
And Julie is very, very detail oriented on the finances. I think that will be
Yeah.
something.
And I don't, and I think the new director coming in,
Mhm,
she will eventually just take it over with Anna, and
mhm.
I
Exactly.
don't think we're gonna have to give her a month, 2 months to get up to speed.
Do people want to see something in writing? I mean, this is super helpful. It's good to have this. Maybe
But-
next time, do we want to try to get a printout from Anna for everybody, like copies?
I think, I was hoping to go over this with Anna at some point, to change, this was Anna's budget here,
Mhm.
just to change around and to factor in the town's numbers and to also actually show the bids on it.
Yeah, I think that would be really helpful. I would like to see that. Can we try? I mean, it'd be great to have that next time we meet, if it's possible.
I mean, I don't think Anna would have a problem being like, hey, before the building grounds meeting, here's the copy of my spreadsheet as it is. Just
Yeah.
like I'm literally kind of, that's the only level of detail I've gotten to in my own thinking about this. So, and it's like right now.
Well,
So,
maybe
yeah.
even like we do a board packet, kind of like, like we do in the big board meetings, and we have, just whatever, Anna's. So if you guys are working together to get that updated, so that it's current, and then we just provide that as like part of, we add it to the agenda.
And I will let you know, Anna is going on vacation, sometime in May.
Okay.
So I think the 19th,
I forget the
maybe the
date.
24th, I don't know.
So maybe if there's time, because
Yeah.
we'll be meeting again soon.
Right,
probably.
and I think, and like I said, Julie is very, very, involved in this project already, so.
Right.
Great.
So she might just be the person
Yeah.
to be able to update
I
us.
think she will, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah, okay, great. All right, I think then the only thing we still need to do is figure out what our next meeting date will be. And again, I think we're gonna have to do this just piecemeal for
Yeah.
now while we're trying to.
Meeting.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get in a cadence, but we'll do our best. There is a good number of us in the room today. So the conflict is that we can't meet on So here's what we're trying to organize around. We've got these Tuesday morning meetings every other week that we're trying to stay close to, so that we can meet, in a timely fashion. So that means Tuesday afternoons are in the realm of discussing, again, because Wednesdays we've got a couple of conflicts. We've got another committee meeting and library, Friends of the Library meeting that Julie will need to attend. So the Wednesdays are not necessarily going to work for us moving forward. So I don't know. I think my suggestion potentially then is the 19th.
The 19th is the next one of the construction update meeting.
So could we do a 19th in the afternoon?
What day of the week?
That's a Tuesday. I know people had conflicts on Tuesdays.
Yeah, I'm very easy right now. If it's late afternoon or pretty much any day.
Okay, so maybe
Again, is
Tuesday.
it fair to say we're talking like around this time, start time 4:45?
Yeah.
Not earlier,
It's
right?
hard for me to get out early. We're gonna
It's good.
have a meeting that ends at 4:30.
I think my Tuesday conflict at that time is an internal only meeting, so I can definitely work around that. So that could work for me. I don't know, Lindsay.
Tuesdays are okay for me, typically.
So is this room available too on Tuesdays?
That is a very good question, and I doubt that there's anything that we'll be able to reliably get every other week.
We should
right now.
probably just do the 19th somewhere else because it's possible that this floor might be closed on the 19th anyway. So let's just let's just try for a different space, and then we'll just schedule this meeting because we may need to, who knows, with Julie's schedule and everything else. We'll do the 19th at 4:45, somewhere that's not this room, and then next time we meet, we'll figure out what the next meeting will
And
be, if
just a
that's okay.
reminder, the 18th, this would be on the consent agenda the 19th, this would be on the consent agenda.
So I
So
didn't even look at my.
after the
march
meeting, we could all walk over.
Exactly, yeah. It's just,
Yeah,
Okay, all right, so that works okay for everybody, and then we'll kind of TBD it from there. Okay, sorry for all the discussion about meetings, meeting times.
I'll send that information to Julie.
The cat herding is the hardest.
it does look at the moment like this room is available on the 19th from 4 whenever till 6. So Audubon coming in at 6. If the library is open. So I think I'll just put the chip down on here
Yeah,
to start
just in
with.
case.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then we'll figure out, I'll also look for,
Because that's also the day that was gonna be the half day.
yeah, right.
So, yeah.
This floor might be usable by then because the emergency platform would be in
Okay.
place. So better to have it reserved and not let anybody else snag it.
Exactly.
Okay, all right,
Have
great.
you got Gavin on the distribution list now?
He's on the distribution
Okay.
list, yes. Yeah, I know everybody's getting messages, right? You guys are all getting messages.
Question
Yeah,
for you.
okay, I think, can we close or be?
Yeah, the garden, the pocket park, nobody's taking plants out of there, can I take a plant?
Let me chat with you
Have you
afterwards.
been-
No, we haven't adjourned.
Yeah.
5:57, let's adjourn.
Uh,